Charlie, operated today by Greg, Golf Zero Delta Uniform Bravo, serving as net control for the RAYNET-UK weekly activity net. This net meets each Sunday afternoon at 1600 hours local time and is open to all amateur radio operators interested in emergency communications. The primary purpose of the net is to provide the opportunity for members to test equipment, exchange traffic news, opinions and information. And I've got to point out this is a directed net, which means all calls are to be made to the net control station unless you are instructed otherwise. All RAYNET-UK operators are invited and encouraged to check into the net. When you do check in, please announce your call sign slowly and phonetically, followed by your name. If you wish to leave the net immediately after checking in, then please call in and out. Otherwise, if you want to leave after subsequent turns, then please make it clear you want to check out at that time. After I've heard a few check-ins, I'll repeat what I've heard. If you're not acknowledged, then please do try again. I will call for any strays, that's people who missed their turns at the end of the UK and international sections. So I'll now begin taking check-ins to the RAYNET-UK weekly activity net as usual in call sign number order. So any stations with figure 8 and their call wishing to check in, please call now. This is G4 NRC.
Golf 8 Echo Yankee, G8 EEY, name is Mike. Golf 8 Sierra Delta Uniform, name's Bob. Good afternoon, Greg. Just in and out, please.
This is G4 NRC, so I've got Mike, Golf 8 Echo Yankee staying with me, and Bob, Golf 8 Sierra Delta Uniform, good afternoon to you, and copied you in and out. Any other 8s, please? G4 NRC, over. G4 NRC, nothing heard. Let's have 7s, stations figure 7 and their call sign, please go ahead, over.
Mike 7.
Golf 7 November Echo Hotel G7NEH. Good afternoon, Greg.
G4 NRC, so I've got Stephen, Mike 7 Victor Sierra Delta with very broken, near unreadable audio, and Graham, Golf 7 November Echo Hotel. Any other 7s, please? G4 NRC, over. For NRC, nothing heard, so let's have 6s, stations figure 6 and their call sign, please go ahead, over.
Mike 6, Golf Bravo Lima, Lucas here, in and out, please. Thank you.
For an RC, good afternoon, Lucas. Mike 6 Golf Bravo Lima, and copied you in and out. Any other 6s, please? G4 and RC, over. G4 and RC, nothing heard, so let's have 5, stations figure 5 in their call sign, please go ahead, over. For an RC, not many 5s in the organisation, so we'll go for 4s. Stations figure 4 in their call sign, please go ahead, over.
G4 and RC, Golf 4 Kilo Uniform Juliet. Trevor in Watford. Good afternoon, Greg.
Golf 4 Hotel Uniform Foxtrot, Phil.
B4NRC, so I've got Trevor, Golf 4 Kilo Uniform Juliet, and Phil, Golf 4 Hotel Uniform Foxtrot. Any other fours, please? G4NRC, over. I see, then let's have threes. Stations figure 3 in there. Call sign, please go ahead, over.
Mike Whiskey 3, Victor Juliet November, MW3VJN, Tristan, West Wales, listening only. Good afternoon, Greg.
G4NRC, so I've got Tristan, Mike Whiskey 3, Victor Juliet November, so I'm going to take that as in and out. Tristan, copied you listening. Any other threes, please? G4NRC, over.
Golf 3, Zulu Hotel X-Ray. Ian, in and out, but I shall be listening to the end. Thank you, Greg.
Golf 3 Zulu Hotel X-Ray. Good afternoon, Ian. Property you is in and out. Thanks. This is G4NRC. Let's move to stations with 2 in their call sign. Any station with 2 in their call sign, and that includes you, intermediate 2s. Please call now, over. See, second call, any stations figure 2 in their call sign. Please go now, over. G4NRC, nothing heard. Let's have ones. Stations figure 1 in their call sign. Please go ahead, over.
Golf 1, Lima, Tango, Kilo. Name's Adrian.
One, Lima Tango Kilo. Good afternoon, Adrian. Any other ones, please? G4NRC, over. NRC, nothing heard. Let's have Mike 0 stations of any reachable secondary identifier, please, over.
Mike 0, Mike Foxtrot Sierra, Drew, West Devon.
Mike India 0, Mike Sierra Oscar, Philip, Northern Ireland.
For okay, fellows doing a test elsewhere. This is G4NRC, so I've got Drew, Mike 0, Mike Foxtrot Sierra, and Philip, Mike India 0, Mike Sierra Oscar. Any other Mike 0 stations of any regional secondary identifier, please, over. G4NRC, then let's have Golf 0 stations of any regional secondary identifier, over.
Golf Whiskey 0, Juliet Lima X-Ray. Good afternoon, Greg. Name is Andy, RAYNET Pembrokeshire. No traffic today, so in and out, please, over.
W0JLX, G4NRC. Good afternoon, Andy. Copied you in and out. Thanks for tail-ending the regular call-ins as usual. Do we have any UK stations who've missed their turn to call in that wish to do so? Please call now, over.
Good afternoon, Golf 6, Papa Delta Echo.
G4KL, Philip, South Sussex.
Doubling with KIL. Golf 6 Papa Delta Echo. Good afternoon, Chris. Copy to you staying with me. Do we have any other UK stations who wish to call in to the net? Please call now, over.
Mike, in house uniform and here is Adam.
Zero for uniform, Golf 0 G4 and RC, apologies. Good afternoon, Adam. Slightly broken audio. Gather you're staying with me. Okay, let's go see if we've got any of our international colleagues online today. Usually North Sandband of Norway, Aaron in Ireland, any of our international friends, G4 and RC, over.
Lima for 6 India Mike, name is Hans. Good afternoon, Greg, in and out.
Well, for 6 India Mike, good afternoon, Hans. Copied you as in and out. Okay, now I think we've still got 2 more UK stations trying to call in who are doubling. Try again. G4 and RC, over.
G4 KIL, Philip, South Sussex.
G4 KIL, good afternoon, Philip. Golf 3 Victor Echo Hotel, G3VEH. Were you staying with us, over?
Good afternoon, Greg, Z3VH. In and out, but to this.
And yeah, in and out, so
Pulled with again. Mike 7 India Alpha Uniform, Adam, go again, over.
just going to be in and out listening. So I'll still be here, but I'm just going to be listening.
Mike 7 India Alpha Uniform, copied you, I was in and out. Thanks, Adam. Okay. So, Graham, G7NEH is live streaming the YouTube as usual today. Past live streams and recordings are available by searching G7NEH, that's Golf 7 Metro Hotel on YouTube. Sometimes you need them. A trip away this weekend led me to test my mobile DMR hotspot, then to discover many versions of software out of date and the unit probably needs recalling the error rate it was showing. It wasn't too critical and I was still able to have a contact with no adverse comments, but it's something that does need addressing soon. They're running a little campaign on social media encouraging everyone to check their batteries, etc. So the question is, have you checked your station recently? So alternative modes does provide some resilience, but we shouldn't failure. The commercial Starlink service failure for 2.5 hours this week, which has been attributed by them to a failure of, quote, key internal software services, close quotes, is a reminder that all commercial systems probably have some hidden vulnerability in the account system or some other place that we'd never really have thought of. And finally, a reminder that if you don't talk about it, it didn't happen. Typhoon Karina hit the Philippines this week. No news, obviously, about amateur radio involved in the event, so is amateur radio in the country active? Nothing's visible on the website of the National Society or the RAYNET equivalent organisation. Nothing's said on the mailing list for the region. You may think, therefore, there's no need for amateur radio emergency communications in that area anymore. Practically, and only because Steve, G4EKM, posted a report in the RAYNET Facebook group, does anyone know that 7.095 was active with emergency traffic, along with a full data network in the area. So please do keep your events list entries up to date, and do report on your activations so we're not overlooked. With that, let's see what questions we've got from everybody this week. Golf 8 Echo Echo Yankee, G4 and RC, over.
G4NRC from G8EEY. Good afternoon, Greg. Good afternoon, everybody else. It's reasonably comfortable here in Norfolk. 22 centigrade, 1016 millibars, 39% relative humidity during the day, around about 85 to 90% at night, 100% cloud cover, and a little 9 mile an hour breeze from 323 degrees. It's all very well keeping the diary up to date, but of course we still can't at the moment, courtesy of them over the pond. Single point of failure, mostly it's me. I'm usually the single point of failure. Bearing in mind the removal of encryption from M17 and things like that, I've managed to acquire some used ICOM ICF 15s, which I've managed to acquire some rocking horse poo in the form of audio scramble modules. Only enough for 7, but it's something to fall back on if we have to do some form of encryption, if it really comes to the crunch. That's about it. I don't think I've got too much to add from this end, so over from G8EEY.
Echo Echo Yankee G4NRC. Okay, probably 3 things there. You didn't give the full answer. Website, yes, I think everybody's probably aware by now the RAYNET websites are down. Anybody who's had to deal with Microsoft, quote, support, close quote, will know the problems we're facing, and they hope, as per the Friday News, the website is back up soon. The removal of encryption was not removed from M17. M17 was removed from the MMDVM hotspot system. M17 is still keeping its encryption. And over the last 7 days, it looks like there's been some rapprochement between the M17 authors and the MMDVM author, in that there is a fork of the code which will allow M17 to run on some hotspots in future. It's just not going to be quite as mainstream. But getting some audio scrambling modules is a fun one, because when a user service asks for encryption, ask them what they want and they probably won't know. So as long as it sounds garbled, well, that's a win, isn't it? After that, if you get historical enough, even Morse code's deemed encrypted by some people because they can't read it. Right, however, hopefully not sounding garbled now. Let's see how Stephen sounds. Mike 7 Victor Sierra Delta G4NRC, over.
G4NRC, this is Mike 7 Victor Sierra Delta. Hopefully not garbled now. I'm coming up on the dashboard, so hopefully everything is fine. A very good afternoon to all on the net. Not been around for 2 weekends now. Obviously, we had the comms checks for the Bolly Skyline Enduro, so I was out helping with that. And the weekend just gone, we were hosting a bronze radio course over in Congleton, so it's been a busy 2 weekends radio-wise, both amateur and military side. All the cadets on the course passed, which is always good, and we were certainly well subscribed on that course, so much so we had to turn cadets away. We had 71 cadets put their name down, and we had to shall we say, whittle that number down, because there was only 2 instructors, myself and another instructor, and there's no way we could get through 71 cadets in a weekend. So that was the situation with that. And talking about failures, I have been keeping up to date with the EE mobile network failures. The past 2 days have been at reports of failures. So I've been keeping up to date with that one, over.
Mike 7 Victor Sierra Delta G4NRC. Yes, I didn't notice EE had been down as well. Rings the bell here, pun intended, of the site called Down Detector that the press frequently quote, where people report issues with services, and if there's enough complaints, then it's obviously down. Is the idea, but it's a bit like who goes into a shop and praises them for actually doing the right job for a change. It was difficult to get a feel for how failed the network is at the moment, or any particular instance in time. However, that's one, but certainly to the cadet side, sounds like you've got plenty of interest in radio communications, and I must tease the cadet officer I have in my team at the moment, who are never here talking about communications at all, so I'll have to figure out what they're up to. Right, let's see how we're doing for viewers and whether we've switched anybody off yet this week. G7NEH, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC, G7NEH, good afternoon Greg, good afternoon to all on the net. And last week's views were 56 views and 2 likes. I think that's probably the most we've ever had. I don't think we've ever gone certainly 56, so quite pleased with that. And just looking at the geographics of our viewership, obviously majority from the UK, and also the second biggest majority is the US, and then across Europe it's the Netherlands and Poland. So many thanks to our colleagues over the water and in Europe for giving us a listen, and why not drop a comment if you're listening now. Drop something in the comments, let us know where you are. Would be very much appreciated. So there we go. Right, yeah, you mentioned batteries. That's quite funny, because I've just charged every battery for handheld throughout the day. So all my batteries are fully charged and ready to go. Back to you, G4NRC, G7NEH.
NEH, G4NRC returning. Okay, yes, I suspect I have a slightly similar exercise, but my battery exploits have been more focused, having been away at Hay-on-Wye for the last 2 nights, transferring a camper van off a 400-watt solar panel in not very sunny conditions with a 1 kilowatt-hour solar generatory thing from EcoFlow. Mostly kept everything running, but the demands were not high. But there's a whole new set of discussions there about what duty cycles are for batteries and how much you do need to charge them to get a particular outcome. However, quite pleased. The system worked, did what I anticipated it doing in the camper van, so it was worth the wait taking it all down there, and that's WEIGHT. Okay, thanks Graham. Hopefully you can report some comments next time around. We'll go to Trevor next. G4KUJ, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC, G4KUJ. Good afternoon, Greg, and everybody else. Not done much in the way of radio this week, because I was away up in North Norfolk from last Saturday. Took my digital station in the flight base up with me, which gave me DMR and Arden connectivity, which all worked very fine. All I have to do to get it running is connect the local mobile router to the nearest Wi-Fi source, and then we're in business, and that all worked very well. On the Arden front, thanks for the tip-off that there's an update due, probably was it early August, I think, 4th or 6th or something like that, in the link you sent me. And the only other observation to Drew is that I noticed that your Supernode system has been up and running and working very nicely for a week or more, but we all dropped off the world map, which didn't seem to be identifying that you were there. But I did notice yesterday that's all working again at the moment, yesterday and today. So that's about it, Greg. Back to you from G4KUJ.
G4KUJ, G4NRC returning. Yeah, I didn't take DMR on Arden. I didn't have enough. I did take DMR, and that connected through. So one hotspot works nicely through Wi-Fi. Didn't get onto the Arden system. Not just yet. We'll save that one for another trip. But never quite sure on a campsite what access to mobile telephony and data I'll have. So more focus this time round on HF, which worked reasonably well, even though it's a contest weekend. Arden, next production release, yes, I sent you that and now I'm struggling myself. It's either the 6th or the 8th of August, which is the next production release planned for Arden. So I'm holding off on software updates on that, firmware updates on that until that's announced. And then we'll see what breakage we have this time. Okay, we have a few to go. Phil G4HUF, copied your emails while I was driving back. We'll recirculate one of those straight round to West Cheshire RAYNET this afternoon. G4HUF, G4NRC, over.
This is G4HUF. Yep, good afternoon, Greg, and everybody else on the net. Like Mike, single point of failure seems to be me at the moment. I've been suffering from a dose of gout in my right foot for the last just over a week. No medication to help resolve it. The pain's not there anymore, that's significantly dissipated, but the swelling is such that I can't put any footwear on, so therefore I'm a non-driver, and it basically means that Patricia and I are missing out on our evening meal this evening, which should be supplied by Bruce, G1ORS. So, definitely single point of failure this afternoon. And consequently, over the last few days, the favoured actions or activity has been watching the test match with said right foot elevated. And of course, we're in the final couple of hours at the moment, and I don't know what's going on. But there we go. Yeah, I'm struggling for manpower for the Bolly Skyline. And several begging emails have been sent out, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed. And the next thing I've got to do is sit down and write out the operations plan for it. At least sitting in front of the computer is a little bit more comfortable at the moment than it has been. So I think that's everything from me at the moment. So I shall pass it back to you. G4NRC, this is G4HUF.
G4HUF, G4NRC returning. Okay, yeah, well, I'll do what I can. If you don't get any responses, and I think particularly in Manchester, let me know ASAP, because somebody deserves a phone call. We'll find out what's going on with regard to getting you some extra help for that. Also, still kind of mindful, it is harder as these events go across country for finding 4x4s. However, now that the events are open, you can see just how many hundreds plus people are actually interested in mountain biking over a so-called half and full marathon course, so it's going to get fun. Okay, thanks Phil. Hopefully the weather will stay with us while we're on that, and you'll let Graham and I know what you want of us whenever. Okay, next it's Adrian, Golf 1 Lima Tango Kilo, G4 and RC.
RAYNET-UK. Yeah, good afternoon to everybody. It's quiet at the minute. Just sorting out stuff ready for next weekend. I'm out with Derby Dales. We've got a walk on, so a nice easy one to do. It is literally a walk. We do get some runners on it, but it's the Dovetail Dipper. So just hoping for some good weather. I just have to see what happens. RAYNET-UK with the group.
Chief for an RC. Let's try that one again and watch the right countdown timer. Okay, copied out next weekend on a walk. My understanding was the weather improves through this week, so hopefully it'll all be well with you. There's only a little bit of rain down in Powys this morning, which made me worry a little about getting a van off a slippy grass field, but no worries in the end. That's what we hope for. Funny how we focus more on weather in the winter than we do in the summer, though, when they can have just as bad an effect on people, but in the opposite direction. Okay, we've got 5 to go. Drew, Mike 0, Mike Foxtrot Sierra, G4 and RC, over.
G4 and RC, M0 MFS. Good afternoon to everybody on the call. I've been missing for the last couple of weeks due to general work-related issues, and wasn't a lot of time for radio stuff this week. I did have a quick look at the Supernode yesterday morning, and I hadn't realised that it wasn't talking. It seemed to be talking to all the others, but I did push the nightly build onto it and give it a reboot. So I don't know quite what happened there. I did notice that since the WireGuard stuff has happened, my connection into I can't think where it goes now. One of the connections is down because the node that used to support it doesn't support old connections anymore. So I think I've only got one connection in, but I don't know whether that was the issue. A little bit of interest down here in LoRa APRS. The local club seems to be topping up a lot of iGates and trackers popping around, so I thought I'd have a little play with that. So I've got my first LoRa APRS on 70 Sands to play with, and it's vaguely interesting, but I'm not sure whether it's got any real use. Other than that, not a lot to add. I say life has been very busy at work, and I need to go back to that as well. So I'll make this my final and catch you all next week from M0 MFS.
Foxtrot Sierra, G4 and RC returning. Okay, right, I was expecting some people not to update to WireGuard, and I'm holding out for some of my hat lights because I just like the way they work in the house to do what I need to do for testing. So it might be a bit of a fractured network for a while, but that's what I'm interested in seeing what comes out with the next production release, whether they've managed to sort out some of the issues. LoRa/APRS, this is like calling WinLink a mode. So it's APRS data packets which have great use because they can do position, they can do messaging, they can do formal messaging, etc. I think LoRa's getting more legs because we've got fewer and fewer people running APRS digis on 144.8. So the better signal-to-noise performance of LoRa just means you can do more with less infrastructure, potentially, or is it less power? And you still need as many infrastructures. So, yeah, it's an interesting one, but see how it grows. It certainly does have quite a few adherents, especially across the mainland of Europe, as a way forward. So, all tools in the toolbox, Drew. Anyway, good luck with work. Fairly similar here. with work and family, so I've got a ruck of stuff I've got to do tonight before tomorrow morning. Right, over some other water now to Philip. Mike India 0, Mike Sierra Oscar, G4 and RC, over.
G4 and RC, good afternoon. Good afternoon to everybody else in the net. Yeah, a few things mentioned there that's interesting. Batteries. I just ordered a new battery for my Amitone handheld this morning. They can be charged by USB-C, as it run out on me during the event yesterday. But I never just go with the one radio. I had 4 high-tier radios on me and spare batteries for them, so it was just a quick switch over. So Laura, yeah, we're playing with Laura here at the minute too. There's one I get up in Dungiven, and we have an actual proper APRS 144.8 to go up on a high side soon with all the hardware together. We just need to get ourselves organised. But August looks like a good month to do a lot of stuff. Our last major road racing event was yesterday. We have a sprint triathlon this Saturday coming, and there's nothing really now to Boxing Day, so plenty of time to plan and be charged. Arden, yeah, I think I'll wait until that firmware update. I have been in conversation with the guys, some of the main developers, about putting a supernode up in Ireland, so that's under. It's just that many wee projects, it's getting time to do them all. And the last thing, and I'm not getting it on anybody here, what resilience do we have for our own website? Because it has been badly bust this past while, especially when you want to check memberships and stuff. And do you have contact with Microsoft support via work? And I mean, we have, but then again, we're a big paying customer, government department. We have never been out of anything that long, but there you are. Just interested in your response to that one, Greg.
Yep, Mike India 0, Mike Sierra Oscar, G4 and RC. Just noticed if the Brandmeister gateway doesn't come up smartly, that's what's dropping me out of the main server. In reverse order, the website had, at one point, got a couple of resilient servers within the Microsoft Cloud, but costs took those out of the way. The problem, as you might have gathered, is not dealing with Microsoft technically, it's dealing with Microsoft accounts. So that's where that resilience issue starts to fall over if you can't get people to talk to you with the right approach to make changes and do things. So other than that, you'd be looking at having a totally spare website hosted on a totally different system, and then using a domain name server to point between the two, which is one of the other things I've got to look at this evening. I've been trying to bring up on a different website for a few days now, but being away didn't help. But the key point you asked was, what about the members database, etc. So you should be able to ask your zonal coordinator, who was given the last data a while ago for what the data snapshots were for their zones. So as with all these things, you can ask me, but you should really be asking your ZC. So that's that, but I'm sure I'll get another question next time round. Okay, I miscounted because the log was a little out of sync, so it's 2 left. Chris, Golf 6 Papa Delta Echo, G4 and RC, over.
Yeah, good afternoon from G6PDE. Yeah, sorry I was late in. It was due to a failure of my main hotspot. So I had to switch to the second one that I've got packaged up ready for portable use. I'm pleased to say that one did work. So I have to go and investigate later why the other one didn't work in the first place. It was a good test of this. On the subject of batteries, so I've got some lead acid batteries that I still keep topped up, nicely charged. But on my handhelds, which are all lithium ion now, I tend not to keep them topped off. The assumption that keeping them sort of half to 3/4 charged will extend the battery life, the life of the batteries in the sense of how long they last before they have to be replaced. So So it's a bit of a dilemma there as whether to keep them fully charged and ready for maximum usage, or just sort of 3/4 charge. But like everyone else now, with time they're so cheap, I've got literally dozens of them, so I'm sure I'll be able to find one that works at least. Back to you, G4NRC from G6PDE.
G4NRC returning. Okay, yeah, we've got a link. Yeah, good point. It's why when I was talking about the solar generator over the last couple of days, I'm quizzing myself with, is it about a kilowatt hour or so of a battery that's got in there. The suppliers are more emphatic now about don't charge beyond 80% and don't discharge below 20. So when you do that, you're buying a kilowatt hour of battery, but not really able to get the full beams out of it. Albeit, for part of the journey back, I did drop the lower limit off, giving myself 20% to run it to totally to flat, just to get going. But yeah, interesting point. The self-discharge of lithium ions is so low, you can leave them at half charge and still have an appreciable length of time to play. So yeah, nice observation. But I'm not sure what the right way of dealing things is at the moment. Last on this round, it's Philip. Golf 4 Kilo India Lima, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC, G4KIL. Yeah, thanks very much, Greg. Again, sorry, apologies for being late up. I could say it was a hotspot technical failure. Basically, I'd forgotten to set my phone to act as a hotspot between the Wi-Fi and the data, which is how I run it. So that was why I was late up. A couple of things. Greg, you may remember, was it a couple of weeks ago? I sent over the link about the cabinet survey. I was actually looking at that this week. We've got. Also linked to that, we've got a South Sussex RAYNET committee meeting this coming Tuesday evening. And that's on the agenda for that. We're looking through it. They are encouraging organisations to make a single submission. They're also asking questions like how many members you've got, things like that. And that kind of led me to think a submission input from RAYNET National would probably make more sense than individual ones. So interesting on a comment on that. And certainly our thinking at the moment for our committee meeting on Tuesday, I think, would be that we will fill it in from how we would answer it and then send it to somebody in National to potentially collate it with others. And if ours is the only one, we can stick it in as from National. So interesting comments on that. HF, yes, last Monday was quite interesting. I don't know if you probably didn't particularly notice. No reason you should have done that. On the bottom of my response, I mentioned I was using a different receiver. A bit of a long story on that one, but it does seem to be that little bit better. It didn't cost me anything, so that was lovely. And it's I'm not sure I would have paid for it for the extra money, and it's mains operated, which I don't really like because I like trying things to run off batteries. But I have to say, I could just about hear you, certainly towards the end of the net on it, Greg. So which I couldn't on the radio direct. So there is some benefits in it. So that was last Monday. Another net coming up this Monday, data mode, should be up for that. And then we've got one on Friday, because that will be the 1st of August. And since we're into August, which other events have now finished for August, leaves me clear, certainly for this Friday. I hope for the Thursdays throughout August. Can't absolutely guarantee on that one. I did get a bit of a questioning look, shall we say, from the XYL when I was mentioning to somebody else over lunch. Oh, of course I'll be free on Thursday evenings to do that because I'm not doing something else. There we go, which we'll find out as we go on. G4 NRC, G4 KIL.
KIL, G4 NRC returning. Okay, well, okay, I probably did miss that. I've been so behind because most of last week disappeared into, I think it was a meeting or an attempted meeting every evening through the week. And somebody was meant to be talking to me this afternoon about repeater allocations, tonight about repeater allocations, but hasn't acknowledged, so it's another night on hold. Draft response on that survey, so EEY will confirm I sent that out to com, so it shouldn't be a surprise. I would suggest sending your draft response to OST, or Sierra Tango, at RAYNET-UK.net, and we'll try steering it up via different means for that survey. Interesting, I've just read something about the satellite that I proposed to take over much of 70 centimetres, and the way that everybody around the planet has been responding to the FCC consultation in the USA. And there's been a bit of a reminder that in IAIU space, it's only meant to be the national society that responds to things within their country. And because this is being licensed by the FCC, they wanted everything run via ARRL. It would have been easier to do if they'd actually said they wanted to do that in the first place. So there's a definite parallel there about how we get the best voice into any particular situation, which is also on my mind. More sensitive receiver, great. Yeah, I did notice you were just about able to copy me. I was just about able to copy you. But while I was away, I got a little bit further on the FT818, which has a problem of picking up screaming S8 noise, particularly on 20 metres when I'm in a camper van in a field. So eventually played around enough with that one evening to find out that the IPO setting and the attenuator needed to be in to actually tame the receiver from being too sensitive and annoying. So wait for the next trip, I'll progress that a bit further. Okay, with that we shall go back to the top of the list, the other trustee in the room, and see what comments he's got, and we'll go around for finals. Golf 8 Echo Echo Yankee, G4 and RC, over.
G4 NRC from G8EEY. I seem to remember getting that survey email coming around. Yeah, I'm a great believer in radios with real off switches. Certainly with the lithium-ion batteries, you can more or less leave a radio that's got a knob and a switch on it, and you could probably leave it for 6 months and it will still be okay. The ones that use electronic on-off switching, yeah, the batteries may not have much self-discharge, but the system does. It can be a bit of a problem. I use a Samsung smartphone as a hotspot if necessary, should main Wi-Fi disappear. I run that at 80% continuously as a maximum charge, and that is on 24/7 basically, so that it's always there. Not had a problem with that. Weather-wise, Thursday and Friday looks to be getting unsettled again, with rain and more thunderstorm warnings, lightning warnings. Well, there you go. That's summer for you. That's starting nicely at the beginning of August. From G8EY, and thanks for running the net, Greg.
Echo Echo Yankee, G4 and RC returning. Okay, Mike, yes, proper on-off switches, however, getting in short supply, because they used to have to come with a proper volume control which kept techies in business. Squirting said crackly volume controls with suitable goop to keep them working. So a bit of a no-win, but yes, the parasitic loads on a supposedly turned-off radios will flatten anything if you leave it long enough. Okay, thanks, Mike. Next to Stephen, Mike Sector Sierra Delta, G4 and RC, over. Seven Victor Sierra Delta, G4 and RC, over. G4 and RC, suspect you might have lost the repeater. We'll pass and come back to him at the end. G7 and EH, any finals from you, Graham? Any comments from G4 and RC, over?
G4 Yeah, okay. Yeah, thanks for doing the net, Greg. Our total views so far for this week's net are 15 and one like. So yeah, not much else to add. As I say, just if you are watching the net on the stream, either live or through the week, just drop us a like. It works wonders. And again, if you're not on the net and just looking, just drop us a line in the comments. We'd like to see what the audience is. Okay, thanks for doing the net, Greg. So back to you, G4NRC, G7NEH.
G7NEH, G4NRC returning. Okay, Graham, well, thanks for running the videos. It's a bit like the news items are more written now for consumption by the printed readership on a Friday. But we'll get there in the end. Everybody's looking at the same thing. Okay, catch up with you through the week, and we'll go to Trevor for a final G4KUJ, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC, G4KUJ. On the Arden front, I've looked at the link and it was the 6th of August that suggesting there may be a new release. And looking on Greg's Supernode, it's KN6PTO, which is the one that appears not to be connected. And also to Philip in Northern Ireland. You probably gather I'm running a gateway node which has got connections to the local stations around here and Drew and also to Greg. If at any time you'd like to have I think a link into cross to me would be useful, I'm quite happy to talk to you and set that up with you. Apart from that, further, oh yes there is. You mentioned the hotspots and firmware and calibration. I must admit, I keep an eye on my little hotspot, and I made great effort to set it up very carefully about 4 years ago, and it's still running, and I haven't adjusted it since, and it's still showing 0% BER through, or 0.1 through most of the ways I can check it. So I'm reasonably happy with that. But I do agree. I originally had some problems with another hotspot which was off frequency, and once I put it back on, everything just sprang back into life. So cheers for now. Should be around next week. G4NRC, G4KUJ.
G4KUJ, G4NRC. Okay, this hotspot that goes out mobile doesn't actually have a screen on it, so it was lashed together a bit. So I can't remember quite how diligently I set it up, which is the other problem. However, something in my mind is telling me I've got another hotspot board somewhere. I just can't think where it is. Because I might need another one, and it's a nudge back to G7NEH because I forgot to mention it. But Henry, Mike 0 Kilo Echo Lima, Kilo Echo November, our group, has got himself a Fusion radio and was thinking of trying to access your repeater. So I can't remember whether whether the coverage extends towards my port or not, but I can deal with that one on the WhatsApp. Okay, Phil for a final. G4HUF, G4NRC, over.
This is Golf 4 Hotel Uniform Foxtrot. Yep, okay. I've got nothing else significant to add. The one query or the one comment I wanted to pass is perhaps not ideal for over the air. So if I remember, I'll drop you a quick email on that particular subject. But that one will be of a low priority. So don't start panicking about it. We've got till the end of October to resolve it in that regard. Yeah, I suppose with the lack of reaction from people so far with the numbers that I need for the Volley Skyline, I've sent emails out to Bernie at Greater Manchester and Staffordshire Moorlands, only to find out that they've actually merged with North Staffordshire now. And I sent another one out to somebody else, but I can't remember who it was off the top of my head. I don't know whether or not the Merseysiders would be inclined to traipse all the way across, but I haven't talked to them. And even the Lancastrians, but perhaps I'm pushing my luck with appealing to them. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to shut up, hand it back. Thanks for running the net. Thanks for giving me a chance to sit here, put my feet up and have a waffle. And we'll catch you next weekend. This is G4HF.
G4HUF, G4NRC returning. Okay, the only thing above and beyond that might be just to drop something in to news@raynet-uk.net. So I know you've got Help Wanted on the diary page, and you've got the event in the diary. Maybe just put some words to go into the main body of the news where people might more actively see it. Just as an aside, might get you some surprises. Lanx actually came across and helped on an event on the Wirral, rather than them asking for us for a change, which was a little unusual, but it happened, so you may still get optimism rewarded. Okay, 73's Phil, look forward to the email. Now try not to panic. Adrian for a final next. Golf 1 Lima Tango Kilo, G4 and RC over.
John LTK. Yeah, just for information, I'm just looking at an email that Derek sent out regarding that event. So, yeah, it's gone out around our group. But unfortunately, I'm away on holiday, so I can't help on that one. Otherwise, it could have been an interesting one. But, yeah. Okay, I'll say 73 to everybody and maybe catch you next weekend. It just depends how my checkpoint goes. John LTK.
Golf 1 Lima Tango Kilo, G4 and RC returning. Okay, well, good luck with the events. So, yes, well, if this Volley Skyline happens on the timescales allowed, it might be a bit of an interesting net for us on the 8th of August. Time passes the sleepy little village by, or I've had no sleep, whichever comes easier. Now it'll be the 10th of August. If I'm still up at bay and I feel somewhere playing radio rather than doing a net. So we'll see what happens. But good to hear you on. Maybe hopefully we will get to hear you next week. So next to I've got Phillips next up. Mike India 0, Mike Sierra Oscar, G4 and RC over.
Excuse me, G4 NRC, Mike India 0, Mike Sierra Oscar. I thought there was another 0 before me, but never mind. Okay, not much more to add. Just wanted to say the last round that talk of an EE outage. I didn't have to say I didn't really notice any EE outage over here. I use 270 on the phone, EE and Vodafone, and I didn't really notice any issues on the VE and that at home. But there you are. Maybe it was just another area. Okay, thanks again, Gray. And yeah, thanks for that contact the other day. It worked out great for me. Not that they're doing nothing, but it was good to make touch base again. Okay, 7-3 for now.
G4 and RC. Okay, yeah, glad it worked. Yeah, there is just a thing if you bring me between, let's call it 8 o'clock and 6 o'clock in during the day, then that's usually work time or feeling like it. So can just be a little delayed in getting a response. Glad it worked for you, and yeah, you've kind of reconfirmed, if you didn't notice, the EE outage over there is how localised things are, and yet they'll make it into the news. There was another M0 before you, that was Drew, but he went out on the last over, which is why you bumped up the list. Okay, so 7-3's to you, and Chris for a final. Golf 6 Papa Delta Echo, G4 and RC, over.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. I was interested in the mention of Laura earlier on. I tried playing with Laura APRS a year or two ago, but there was no coverage around here with anyone else at the time. But I noticed on the GB2RS news this morning they were talking about Laura APRS, so I might have to dig the modules out of a plastic box they're hidden in somewhere in the house and have another play with them. Thanks for running the net. This is G6PD Claire.
6 Papa Delta Echo, G4 and RC. Yeah, it's a bit like our exploits with Meshtastic in West Cheshire. There was interest, but none of us have actually can work each other, and there's not enough people on that frequency, that license-free frequency, to make it work. So little hotspots. I did put the unit in the car and drove around and had a few promising pings, but it was gone into the similar, probably equivalent box to yours here of projects to be looked at again one day, if ever. Okay, thanks for coming on today, Chris. So we'll finish properly with Philip G4KIL, then we'll go back and see if Stephen's back with us. Golf 4 Kilo India Lima for a final, G4 and RC, over.
G4 and RC, G4KIL, yeah, thanks very much. So, I read that email address you were suggesting we send our response to as, is it Oscar Sierra Tango out to RAYNET-UK.net? I think that's what it was. That's one comment there. Oh, the other one, talking about proper on-off switches. Well, this TYT DMR handheld appears to have a proper on-off switch. It goes click when you turn the volume down to 0, so it's definitely got a volume control that goes scratchy if we wanted. But it certainly runs the battery down if you leave the battery in there. I always take the battery out in a plastic bag when I'm not using it. Otherwise, it runs itself down seemingly quickly. So the on-off switch obviously doesn't disconnect the battery. So there we go. I think that's probably it. Hopefully, see you on the screen, as it were, tomorrow night if you're up. And I'll speak to you again next week. Again, thanks for running the net. G4KIL 673s, back to G4 and RC.
For an RC, returning to G4KIL and the RAYNET-UK activity period. Okay, Philip, yes, aiming to be on tomorrow. We'll put the reminder out for that later, amidst of everything else. But, proper clicky on-off switch is still running the battery down. Something's bridging over or something's not happy there. But fair observation, nothing's what it seems anymore. Right, we shall see if he's back with us. Stephen, Mike 7 Victor Sierra Delta, M7 VSD, G4 and RC, over.
G4 and RC, this is Mike 7 Victor Sierra Delta. Yes, looks like I'm back with everybody. Dashboard's lighting up, so looks like I'm getting through. Turning the net in a slightly Cheshire direction. Warrington Borough Council are making noises as if they want their kit replacing again. The emergency planning officer he emailed me in the week and is wanting a bit of a meeting between the emergency planning team, the building owner, and ourselves. So I did email Phil G4HUF. So we're going to have to organise some dates and times, and we'll see what comes out of it. There is a solution to the access problem. The building owner said, could we provide scaffolding, and sort of went back and sort of said, couldn't we use one of the lighting vehicles that the council have? The EPO said that that's a possibility, but we need to be quick with it as these things cost money. Over.
7 Victor Sierra Delta G4 and RC. Oh, it's going to cost money because unless you've got all your tickets in order, have you got the appropriate working at height training in place, or do we have to have the man lift with a driver? This is the inevitable problem with buildings and building owners and access. Suggest, yes, you pass that through to Phil, but would suggest until we get past the Bolly skyline and Phil gets both feet facing in the right direction, that could take a little while to organise. But good that the Borough Council is still making noise, and that you were making noise then, being back on air. So hopefully that problem will go away a little bit next week, but this time I didn't leave any stations behind. Everybody is out, so I shall bring the activity period to a close. But a marathon session today, you've got lots of stuff out of your system. So thanks everybody for taking time out to participate this afternoon. Be careful, have a good week, and until next Sunday afternoon at 1600 hours local time, I'll close the RAYNET-UK weekly activity net and return talk groups 23531 on Pheonix and Brandmeister and 50 23531 on the RAYNET-UK system back to being an open net rather than a directed net. 730, this is G4 and RC now closing and reverting to my normal call sign of call 0 Delta Uniform Bravo. Bye bye.